Oh, hell yeah! Steve Austin, he's gonna be doing the in-ring return at WrestleMania. Oh, hell yeah! Hershey the Wonder Dog. Get me Mo Dawich. I'm making lots of Steve Austin references to his podcast from about 10 years ago that no one will remember. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Podcast. We're talking about Steve Austin and Raw. I am Luke Owen, DAD, and I'm joined by your Jam That Champion, Chopper Pete Quinnell.
Hi, I'm not going to do a Stone Cold impression on this podcast.
Oh, hell yeah. Oliver Davis, sadly, is not with us again today. We've been pretty transparent about this. He caught coronavirus, everyone, so wear your masks, get vaccinated and all that. He is feeling much better, but he's in his quarantine and we're trying to be as safe as possible, trying to be as responsible as possible as well. So he may not be here for the Thursday AEW show either. We're being careful, but it might be okay.
Yep. We're
going to wait and see what happens tomorrow and see what his tests come back as then. And this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. That's H-E-L-P. This is a fabulous service. We're so happy to have them on here. We have been massive proponents of support WrestleTalk, support each other, support yourself, support your mental health, look after yourselves. And this is a great way to do it. This is a good way to chat through any problems you may have. It's not crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional therapy done securely online, and it's available worldwide. And if you click our link in the video description down below, or the one that is being posted by our incredible moderating team, you can get 10% off your first month using our promo code WRESTLE. Thank you to BetterHelp, that's H-E-L-P, for sponsoring this episode today. We'll talk a little bit more about those after we've done our first batch of Ultrachats. Now, Peter,
full name?
Yeah, well,
Jesus.
It's a very important conversation.
Of course, yes.
You did the news today.
I did.
About Stephen Austin's return.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us what's the dealie here?
So there was a report from Fightful Select saying that WWE were really strongly pitching to try and get Stone Cold to wrestle at WrestleMania. Not just appear at WrestleMania. Obviously, it is in Texas. Not just appear, he's obviously appeared at previous WrestleManias and the like, but actually have a match at WrestleMania, which will be the first time he's wrestled since WrestleMania 19. 19 years ago, Luke.
Yeah, it's nearly 20 years since Steve Austin has been in the ring.
Yes.
Like, Louis Dangle wasn't even born.
Wait,
he's 15, right?
Close enough, yeah. Pretty sure. So they're really strongly pushing. There's been no confirmation from Stone Cold's side that this is actually happening. But interestingly, from the people that Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful spoke to, the name internally listed as Stone Cold's opponent is Kevin Owens, which makes a lot of sense.
It does now, doesn't it? Because like last week, Owens started doing this promo backstage with DeVille and Pierce, where he was like, "The people of Texas need me. Like I won my Universal Championship in Texas. I did this in Texas. Like I love the city of Texas, and Texas needs a hero like Kevin Owens."
Mm-hmm.
And then this week, he flipped that around to be like, "I'm not going to be in Elimination Chamber. I'm likely not going to be at WrestleMania, but that's fine because I hate Texas.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is stupid. It's full of idiots and this, that, and the other." So all of a sudden, that starts to make a little bit of sense because, hey, Stone Cold Steve Austin is from Texas.
Yeah.
So, like, I can almost see it going either way. Like, if Austin does a full match, makes sense. But if Owens just comes out at WrestleMania, cuts a promo on the crowd, and then glass shatters, Austin comes down on a quad bike or something, turnbuckle poses, middle finger, stunner, and away you go. Pops, beers come in, and then off he pops on his little trolley thing again.
Yep.
And like, so both ways work for it. But like, I'm 36 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I turned 37 this year. Steve Austin's my guy.
Yeah.
Like I was there for like Steve Austin, and I was there when Steve Austin retired. And Steve Austin retired quietly as well. Like his match with Rock, it was not publicly known that it was his last match. To the point where the company didn't even really know it was his last match. He'd made that decision. This is going to be my last match. But they didn't really know that. It was just something that he decided personally. So like Austin's like fanfare and his swan song from Wrestling Ring was just a match. You just come in. The chat's exploded saying that Cody and Brandi have left AEW.
Cody and Brandi have left AEW.
And that's official.
Yeah. AEW tweeted it, Cody tweeted it.
What?
Bye.
Have you called Ollie?
Good call.
Call Ollie.
Why are you telling us?
Yeah.
Hold on. AEW. I've typed an S.
AEW. They tweeted apparently.
Tweeted apparently. Okay, guys. Okay, this is from Tony Khan. Cody and Brandi Rhodes were integral to the launch of All Elite Wrestling. Cody's ability, combined with his boldness and his passion for our industry and his love for community outreach, helped AEW deliver on our mission to give fans what they needed for far too long. Something new, innovative, and lasting. Brandi helped us shape the AEW story, and I appreciate how hard she fought for both of she fought for us both in ring and out of the ring, competing in the women's division, while advancing our efforts at inclusion and civil causes, including great partnerships with Culture City and the American Heart Association. I have immense respect and appreciation for Cody and Brandi. I wish them both the best as they move on from AEW. Thank you, Cody and Brandi. Tony Khan, CEO, President, General Manager, and Head of Creative of All Elite Wrestling. So Steve Austin's having an in-ring return.
So you're going to be changing the name of the title and the thumbnail?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was just thinking. I was like, can I get Andy? Do I trust Andy to do that?
No.
Who can I get to do it? I'd get you to do it, but you're
get
here.
Me to do it. I'm here. I don't know.
Okay, so
get Ollie to do it.
Yeah. What do I do now, Pete? What do I do?
This is what happens when we don't have a structure. When something happens, we just crumble.
So, guys, a bit of behind the scenes stuff here. We had a meeting today that was about like what do we do in emergency news situations because we had to do the Shane McMahon like being fired and the Nia Jax thing from a couple of weeks ago, and like that completely tore up our days. We're like, yeah, we really should put something into place in case that happens again.
Yeah.
Not 3 hours later as it happened again.
We have nothing.
Nothing in place. Ollie's at home. He's not well.
No.
I mean, his voice is a little bit better. Sean is saying that he might go back to WWE. There's Sean's tweet. Hold on.
Honestly, I don't know why. I know I'm gonna Louis Dangoor myself here. For some reason, I don't buy it.
What has happened to wrestling this year? Yeah, Sean has just tweeted 9 minutes ago. Word inside the wrestling world is that Cody Rhodes could be leaving AEW and joining WWE.
That would be insane.
Regardless of his intent, we're told to expect an announcement soon. Cody, though, like...
You know...
Yes.
Cody's main person that he didn't like in WWE was Triple H, right? That was like who he didn't get on with the most.
But I think there was probably more than just... Like, he never got given that full push
no, of course not.
that he should have had.
Right. But I'm thinking now that Triple H has been, dismantled from the back and all his crew have now gone, and he has seemingly less power backstage, whether Cody's like, I can go back.
So what you're saying is Triple H is going to AEW.
Yes!
You heard it here first.
Triple H to AEW confirmed.
Pete Quinnell is saying. Pete Quinnell's reporting on the WrestleTalk podcast that Triple H is heading to...
Good God.
I looked over to the side of the screen there because I heard Andy coming through the door.
Did I,
and I looked and everyone was like going, guys. I was like, oh, the audio screwed up again.
Yeah.
What have I done wrong with the audio?
Yeah.
Well, what do we talk about? What do we talk about now? Do we go back to Steve? No, let's talk about Cody.
Let's keep talking about this. This is insane.
Let's keep on the Cody situation for the time being. We'll get to. It's a good job. Smeg all happened on Raw.
Nothing happened on Raw.
It's such a good job that Sweet FA happened on Raw this week.
Go home show.
You can say that, but I mean it's diddly dick these days.
Yep.
So, Sean had reported. Few weeks back, wasn't it, that Cody was a free agent.
Yep.
Like his contract had expired. He had signed a 3-year deal with AEW, which had expired in January of 2019. Which, funny enough, it's the same time that Jericho signed his as well. And I was saying in my news yesterday, like, Jericho teasing an AEW return. People were like, well, I think he's teasing Kevin Owens.
Return.
Sorry, WWE return.
Yes.
I was like, I think it's Kevin Owens to AEW. I'm like, he's just signed a 4-year deal. Like, he isn't going to AEW. But Jericho... If his contract expired in 2019, could obviously go across. Maybe he's working as a free agent, same as Cody was. And I think we were probably all thinking the same thing. He's probably sticking with AEW, isn't he? Like,
yeah.
I don't see any need for him to go back to WWE or go to New Japan or anything like that. I mean, he can work New Japan working with AEW. So like, what would he accomplish by going back to WWE? Because there's every chance he just becomes a mid-carder again. And there will probably be a huge amount of fanfare early doors because it's Cody Rhodes. But let me pose this question to you, Pete. Outside of this room, outside of the people watching this at home, outside of the people in our office, the people who read our website, the people who are subscribed to our Patreon, how big of a deal is it that Cody Rhodes might go back to WWE?
I think...
Like, to the wider wrestling landscape.
It's not that big a deal, but it's probably the biggest person from AEW that could jump to WWE.
Massive.
Because, and not just from an AEW perspective, but because Cody does have outside products, he's on like, the Go Big Show and all that stuff. He does have somewhat of an outside presence, even if it's not huge, whereas a lot of the AEW wrestlers are AEW wrestlers, and literally nobody outside of AEW would know who they are, kind of thing, in terms of like a casual audience. Whereas Cody, it's not a big deal, but it's a huge deal from AEW's perspective. From a casual fan's perspective, it's probably not a huge deal. But
That's kind of my point.
It's okay, I guess.
Like
it's like, oh, it's that guy.
Exactly, like to Joe Public, whose knowledge is WWE is a wrestling product that I sometimes watch on a Monday night, and I'll occasionally like catch a pay-per-view or whatever. To them, like, is Cody just a guy that was there 10 years ago and hasn't been there since? Like, if he comes back, it's like, oh, it's that dashing guy that had that mustache once.
Oh, it's Dusty Rhodes' son.
Yeah, it's Dusty Rhodes' kid. Like, but to us, this is a massive thing that Cody be going back in. But I don't know if our sort of very hardcore wrestling world is that much of WWE's core audience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, maybe I'm completely off base here.
I think there's merit to it. I think it would be a big deal for, like, if he does return, I think the return will be a big deal. I think people will know who he is, especially if he returns at, like, a bigger stage like a WrestleMania, where there's normally a slightly more hardcore audience, or, like, the Raw after Mania or something like that, where there is a more hardcore audience. That will get, like, a really big reaction. In terms of, like, long-term presence in WWE, though, I really don't know if it's going to make a difference too much,
Well, yeah, like... Is Cody going to go back to WWE and be the main eventer that he is in AEW? Like, is he going to be going back and challenging Bobby Lashley for the title? Is he going to be going back and...
He's going to beat Roman Reigns.
He's going to be the guy to dethrone Roman... Like, yeah, like, I don't see Cody Rhodes Universal Champion.
No, I don't either.
I see Cody Rhodes IC Champion.
Yeah,
like
maybe.
In an AEW world, people have fantasy booked the idea of him turning heel, going against his stipulation of never challenging for the world title. Like, I totally see him winning the AEW World Championship. But the WWE Championship? The Universal Championship? I don't know. Like, but is it going to be a case of, Vince has always been... Bobby Heenan is the guy I always bring up for this. So, Bobby Heenan, when he was in WCW... he didn't like to badmouth WWE or WWF at the time because he had a good relationship with Vince. Just Vince had let him go and he went off to work for Turner and he was just like, okay, now I'm here and I'm working with Bischoff and this, that, and the other, but I don't want to be that guy that's just like WWF sucks and this, that, and the other. And then when WCW folded, Heenan didn't get a call to go back. He did WrestleMania X7 as that one-off appearance, but he didn't get the call to go back. And the reason why it was always speculated and reported why he didn't go back is because Vince was like, well, he's nice to me. Like, Vince wants what he can't have.
Yeah.
He could get Bobby Heenan when he was alive. He could get Bobby Heenan at a very quick phone call. Pick up the phone and I've got Bobby Heenan. He can come back and he can start working Monday nights again.
Yeah.
But Cody, he can't have when he's with AEW. And if he is becoming this sort of like big star, he's on his Go Home Big Show, whatever the show's called. Yep. No, I mean, let's be honest, no one watches it, so no one knows what it's called.
I have no idea what the ratings are for that show, so who knows?
And, he's got Miz and Cody or whatever it's called.
Sure, yeah. Roads to the Top.
Roads to the Top, thank you, man. So he's got his own reality TV show there as well. So, like, maybe in WWE's mind, now he is a bigger star because he's got these outside projects. He no longer is just mid-card IC champ Cody Rhodes. He is outside star that will make IC champ.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. There's the other side of this, Luke.
Yes.
What if this is a work?
This is a huge work.
What if this is a work?
And he just shows up on Dynamite this week?
Shows up.
Like, yeah. Like, I mean, do you know what's great about that? They all got worked.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in wrestling very often. And I love that. I think it's great. There are some people within wrestling fandom that hate being worked because they always want to be in the know. They always want to be like, oh, I saw that coming a mile. I was like, it's okay to to not know and to be worked by this stuff. So like, if we are just being massively worked by this, I think that'd be amazing.
And you know what? If this is a work, massive props to all of them, because this feels very legit. They've done all the things that they probably should. You know, they had teasers for weeks of them being like, "Oh, doesn't have a contract, working as a free agent," and then weeks later, they're paying it off with Tony Khan doing an official statement and all that stuff. Like that feels very legit.
Yeah,
you know,
Cody said like it was his promo, the one he did when he was like before the Sammy ladder match, where he's like, "I got a contract in the mail. Wasn't the contract that I wanted, but it was because it was a contract for a match." And he was basically saying to the audience, I am working without a contract.
Yeah.
I was always surprised that line didn't get a bigger reaction.
Yeah.
Because like the AEW fan base is the fan base that's in this, room that we're in currently. And like they're on the dirt sheets and whatnot. But it didn't get that much of a reaction. And I wonder if that's because people just didn't buy it.
Yeah.
Because everyone was like, oh yeah, it's a talent contract, but isn't he still just an EVP? Like, isn't he still working under that pretense?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I'm really confused about the whole thing because genuinely I don't know what is happening with any of it.
I follow Brandi Rhodes on Twitter.
Good for you. She doesn't follow you back.
The more you know, eh? So Brandi said, a heartfelt thank you to every fan that supported me in AEW. That's not me. So, I mean, I did call Brandi Rhodes an idiot on a podcast.
You did do that. You did do that, Luke.
It's a direct quote from me as well.
Yeah.
It was an honor to be the company's first chief brand officer. And the thank you list is long, so I'll try not to wander. Thank you to Culture City, Special Olympics Illinois, and the American Heart Association for following me to cultivate these amazing partnerships. Thank you to every AEW heel that helped me build a dream community of female fans. Thank you to every AEW wrestler and talent that worked hard to create a great locker room environment. Thank you to the production team, makeup team, and seamstress. Thank you, Dustin, QT, Jerry Lynn, Leva Bates, and every ounce of energy, help, and encouragement you provided. Thank you to my husband for being that constant rock and partner every single day. Thank you to TNT, TBS, and Warner Media for treating my family like your family. Thank you to Tony Khan for giving me this opportunity and platform. I move forward with my daughter and this quote in mind. We must take time to define our own path. Too quickly we find the whole world defining it for us. Unknown.
Great quote, that. Should you just make it up?
Just make up any old shit on the internet these days, can't you? Unknown.
Just put it in quote marks. It makes it more legit.
Also, I'll see you on the flippity flop, Michael Scott, which is a Parks and Recs reference.
Great.
I know it's an office reference.
I was going to say, Luke, you've done that thing again where you've made a joke, but you've not said it like a joke.
Still think the best one of that was when Ollie did it was a 7 joke. He's like, spoilers for Fight Club.
Yes.
So if you imagine going like, that's
Very
Fight
good.
Club, that's 7, you idiot.
Yeah.
Apparently Cody Rhodes was tweeted, is he actually, I thought he left Twitter. Oh my God, Christmas Day.
Jesus, that's a long statement.
Okay, I've got to bring this one closer, ladies and gentlemen, because it's also on a terrible background. This is from Cody Rhodes. I have loved my time at AEW. Amazing locker room, amazing fans, amazing people. The revolution was indeed televised, and I've been incredibly lucky to be a part of that. First, I want to thank Tony Khan. He's taken the baton and run with it. It was an honor to work for him and to know him on a personal... Oh, smack, I just clicked off it. And to work on a personal level. He's a beautiful soul. Obviously need to thank my incredible wife and mother of my baby girl, Brandi, for all her love and support throughout this journey together and the amazing relationship she fostered with Culture City and the American Heart Association. I also need to thank Nick and Matt Jackson. These two, whether they know it or not, took an undesired and not confident Lil Cub and gifted me the confidence to become a leader of the pack. Kenneth Omega, Chris Jericho, Chicken, we started the fire. I must thank Tim with Greg, the amazing production crew who understood and captured the vision with such grace. I can't name everybody, but thank you to Mega, Margaret, Harrington, Jeff Jones, Dana, Tony Schiavone, Byrne, Raph, and the hardest worker in the game, QT Marshall, for popping me up and kicking me in the ass when I was running on fumes. You know, we got offered it to interview
I was
QT.
just about to say.
Yeah, so we got offered an interview with QT Marshall for this Friday. And Ollie, because I'm not doing the show this Friday, and Ollie was like, I'm not sure whether we can make that work because I've got mine to do this, that, and the other because I'm off on toil. May change that.
Maybe we should have him on.
Nah, I think we'd probably get QT Marshall on to talk about this a little bit.
I reckon we can. Yeah, maybe that.
I must thank all my kiddos: MJF, Jade, Sammy, Darby, Lee, Ricky, Tom, the Ass Boys, Brock, Velvet. He didn't really say that. I added that. Nyla, Aubrey, Turner, Vanilla, Solo Spears, Julia, Anna, Will, Wardlow, Sunny, Fuego1, and of course -1.
Is he naming the whole AEW roster?
While we're at it, give Jade the Cody Vator.
What? What does that mean?
Is it a move that he did?
Couldn't tell you.
Is it like a George Foreman grill? Also, to take this moment to thank the great partners. I feel like I'm burying Cody Rhodes here. I'm actually really just stunned by all of this.
Yeah.
Where did I get to? Also need to take a moment to thank the great partners of Water Media, including Brett, Sam, and the rest of the team. I have so many milestones and beautiful memories of this renaissance. Through sweat, blood, and tears, literal fire, and all of that, I left it all on the mat. Everything pales in comparison to the final contribution I was empowered to lead at the company, the community outreach team. In the most inward moment, your outward behavior and your ability to take fame, influence, and do something of value for the communities you visit, whether the cameras are on or off, is the highest honor. I'm confident Amanda Huber will lead the department with style. So proud of my creations and contributions and items I supported or calibrated on with such wonderful professionals.
Collaborated.
Thank you. Thank you, fans. Y'all did the work. Let's live forever. Cody's neck tattoo. I'm going to Mod Mother. Can we put a poll up? Oh, the entrance elevator. That's the Cody Vator.
Right.
Thank you, everyone. I do this for a living.
I think Jade Cargill will rock that.
Oh, absolutely rad, yeah. Mod Mother, can we get a poll up?
Mm.
Is this a work?
Ooh, it's a good poll. It's a good poll.
Yes or no?
Is Cody leaving AEW a work?
Is it a work? I'm inclined to think it's not.
I'm inclined to think it's not as well.
Yeah, I don't think it is.
The whole him working as a free agent thing, I thought was a work.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
This now, I think this has now swayed me into shoot territory.
This is a shoot, brother.
Yeah, it is.
Huh.
Wild.
So, obviously, we back Fightful Select. I'm just thinking, okay,
Yeah.
so...
Cody Rhodes update.
Cody Rhodes... Oh, and this might be the old update that he's put up. Fightful has learned that Cody Rhodes and AEW have yet to come to an agreement. There's likely an announcement regarding this coming soon. Word among the wrestlers, the two sides have been unable to reach an agreement, and Cody could be leaving the company and headed to WWE. Fightful will have more details on the situation. That was about half an hour ago.
See, now that is swaying me back to being a work. That is posted minutes before they announced that Cody has left.
I don't know, man.
Like, him posting that minutes before they officially announce it now leads me to think that SRS is in on the work. And I'm totally... This is tinfoil hat territory I'm getting into right now. But,
I don't know.
Oh, man.
Knowing Sean... And I don't know Sean... Like, I don't know him as, like, a brother or anything like that. But I know Sean pretty well. We've had quite, extensive conversations and stuff. I don't... Maybe he'd let himself be worked in this. I don't know if he would do it knowingly.
Right.
Like, in the sense of, like, he is in on the work. He is doing it to work us. Or he's doing... Like, I don't think Sean would do that. Whether or not he doesn't know. Like, if he's told by people, like, various different people, this is what's happening, then that is what he is probably led to believe, especially if it's people that he trusts.
Yeah. And maybe they waited for SRS to post that update, and then they posted it minutes after. They were waiting for the Fightful report.
Exactly,
and then they posted their official statement. Ooh.
Do you know what?
I don't know anymore.
Like, so we back Fightful Select on Patreon. Right?
Yes.
If you go to sort of find a creator and you type in Fightful, so you can go to their page.
Yeah.
Have you seen what the first result of that always is?
No.
So if you type in Fight into the search bar, it is True and On, the only anti-pedophile podcast fighting the sicko elites. It makes me laugh every single time because it's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
Wait, so you don't agree with combating pedophiles? Just getting that on record now, Luke.
I'm just saying, they're fucking idiots. Andrew Zarian, I can confirm that Cody's camp has been in contact with WWE officials. That's from Andrew Zarian from Mat Men podcast. Someone's messaged me to say this whole thing is a work.
Man, I don't know anymore.
Yeah,
I genuinely don't know. I feel like it's a shoot. I feel like it's a shoot.
Also, I mean, just someone's pointing out there, like Aaron's just saying, like he's got 2 shows on TNT. Like he is a TNT and TBS guy.
Yeah.
Is it is it a case of, like he's just going to like renegotiate and move the show across to USA?
Could be that he'll just be on WWE and have his show on TNT. Like it's possible, right?
I mean, if Cody goes,
yeah,
this is massive. This is probably going to be one of the biggest stories of the year. Because Cody is a guy that, like, he got fired by WWE. He made that list. And every wrestler that gets fired now does that list gimmick, right? Where they write down a list of people that he wants to wrestle.
Yeah.
Or he or she wants to wrestle. And he did the work. He went to Ring of Honor. He completely reinvented himself. He went to New Japan. And he made a name for himself with New Japan as part of Bullet Club and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
Without Cody Rhodes, there's no All In.
No.
Because, Dave Meltzer made the tweet when someone asked him, could Ring of Honor sell out 10,000 seats of Ring of Honor? And he said, probably not. It was Cody that said, I think we can.
Yep.
And it was Cody, Matt, and Nick that went and made that happen.
They took the initiative.
And without that show, there's no Tony Khan meeting with Cody Rhodes. Without that meeting of Tony meeting with Matt, Nick, and Cody, there's no All Elite Wrestling. Like, for better or worse, Cody Rhodes changed the wrestling landscape in a major way that no one has done for 20 years.
Yeah.
It is... I thought he'd be AEW for life.
Absolutely.
Like this is his creation.
Yeah,
or partly his creation.
One thing that I've always found fascinating is that whenever we initially did videos about AEW, we always put Cody on the thumbnail.
Oh, yeah.
Because no one knew who Tony Khan was.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd always put Cody was the figurehead. He was always like, if we talk about AEW shock something or other, we'll have a Cody face on the thumbnail because no one knows who Tony Khan is. And over time, that has just shifted. So now Cody does not represent AEW at all. He's just a wrestler in AEW. Tony Khan is now the AEW guy. And that's so interesting to look at that like process and how it shifted from this is Cody's project into no, this is Tony Khan's project. Cody was just a part of it.
Yeah, you're right. You're right on that. And also, there was reports last year that Cody wasn't like not on speaking terms, but he was having differences of opinion between his other EVPs like Kenny and the Young Bucks.
Yeah,
and it was noticeable that they weren't doing storylines together anymore. There was a time when Cody was part of the Elite storylines. And then all of a sudden he wasn't.
Yeah.
And he became, as Going in Raw put it, he was Cody Island.
Yeah.
And like people would visit Cody Island, they would do stuff on Cody Island, then they would leave Cody Island and go back to AEW.
Had to enter the Cody zone. Yeah.
As long as it's the Cody zone. Like,
this is all very confusing.
If he goes back, do you think he's going to be Stardust?
No, surely.
Surely not.
He wouldn't. I don't think he'd go back if he was going to be Stardust because that was the thing that got him out in the first place.
Well, yeah, it was. I mean, he put his all into it, but it was let's take the piss out of him.
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So I mean,
guys,
he's got to be Cody. That's the point of bringing him back, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've said that about so many other things. Like, well, that's the point of hiring this guy, right? Is you do this thing and then they don't do it. So,
I mean, right. So, guys, we'll kind of.
So Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
I was going to say, yeah, we'll stay on top of this story as much as we can do, but we'll try and do sort of updates and stuff as the show goes on.
Cody Rhodes versus Steve Austin. Book it.
By the way, the poll for is it a work, yes or no, is 50-50.
Oh my god! Nobody knows!
It's only 6 minutes, so like who knows? But yeah, like we'll try and stay on top of this as much as possible. Man, we're half an hour into the show. We thought we were only going to do like an hour-long show today because there was nothing happening on Raw, and then obviously this happens.
Should we do some Ultrachats?
Yeah, I was going to say we will do, but we haven't even talked about the Austin thing.
I mean,
yet.
we kind of have a little bit.
Okay, so the report is Steve Austin might be having a match at Mania.
Probably Kevin Owens.
If I'm a betting man, it's Austin Theory. Or maybe
Austin versus Austin.
Maybe that's the second match.
Stunner versus Stunner, though, I think is good.
Stunner versus Stunner makes sense. I know a lot of people were sort of fancy booking this. I was into Fightful fancy booking this, being like, what would you have Steve Austin do in a match? I can see it going one of two ways. Because the things that you're here to pop for are glass shatters, 4 corner posts, stomping a mud hole, Luther's press, Stunner, beers, right? You've got 6 things that you need to tick off.
Profit.
You can get all 6 of those things in a 10-second match.
Yep.
Or you can get all 6 of those things in a boring 25-minute match.
Yeah.
Because I think if it goes to the extended version of that 25-minute match, that match is just Kevin Owens works over Steve Austin for 23 minutes, and then Steve Austin does his flurry at the end and wins.
Yep.
And I personally, yeah, cool. I'd love to see Steve Austin have a match back again. But if I've got a choice between those two things, I just want to see him come in, hit the stunner, Kevin Owens. Because we're popping for the finish.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're popping for the music and we're popping for the finish. So you could just do it quickly.
Yeah.
What you don't want this to be is Brett versus Vince at
Yeah.
WrestleMania. What you don't want this to be is Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler. Which was so long and it was so boring. And Vince versus Brett didn't need to go the 45 minutes that it went for. I know it didn't go, but it was like, it felt like it. Actually, I think it's still going on. It just needed to be kick in the dick, sharpshooter, Vince taps out.
Yeah.
All Cole and Lawler needs to be was punch in the face, pile driver, pin Cole. You didn't need the anonymous Raw general manager being like, I reversed the decision and all this sort of nonsense. I think you keep this simple. Stunner, pin, that's it.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I don't think this should be a match.
Yeah.
I think this should be an angle, because I think if it's a match, it might... I don't want to see Stone Cold win if it's a match. I would want Kevin Owens to be able to... Steve Austin to put over Kevin Owens if it's going to be a proper match. Whereas, if it's an angle, you can just have Stone Cold come out on top, because that's what we want to see. We want to see Stone Cold come out, do the entrance, hit the stunner, off we go. If it's a match, you want to see Kevin Owens win. He's the younger guy against a legend who hasn't wrestled in 19 years.
Mm-hmm.
You'd want him to win the match, really. But who knows what they're going to do. I would like to see it if it is an angle.
Just a little update here. This is from Sean. Shortly before the announcement, WWE officials were aware of the situation and also knew that an announcement would be dropped. We heard that the two sides have at least had discussions, but WWE was well aware that announcement regarding Rhodes' departure would be made at 10 a.m. Eastern. So that is, according to Sean Ross Sapp, Cody has been in conversations very recently. Oh, he's just messaged me like, see, I told you we should do more breaking news videos. Okay, so we're going to do... we've got a bunch of super chats, but it's all about the Cody Brandi stuff. So let's do the Cody Brandi chats first, and then we'll do the Austin ones.
Yep.
Homostar fan kicks us off saying, honestly, don't know why Cody would want to go back to WWE. We all know how well WWE treat wrestlers from rival companies. Remember DDP and Sting. It's an excellent point, man.
Yep.
Really, really good point.
And, like, he's already been in WWE. He knows what it's like. Has he watched the product?
Yeah.
'Cause it's real bad.
Yeah. I watched this episode of
late.
Raw. Did you watch Raw last night, Cody? Because
it's not good.
Peter Mullins, if you ain't Brock, man. Peter Mullins, you lasted 5 seconds without Ollie, and Cody leaves AEW. That's his boy. I think Ollie was the only thing keeping Cody in the zeitgeist. Wait, was Ollie the final Horcrux of Cody Rhodes? And now that he's gone, Cody was vulnerable? It all lines up.
Must be. Yeah.
Double L, Liam Leonard. That was shocking. Wherever Cody goes, he will hopefully get cheers there. But for Raw, I told you Ollie and Luke went on the Patreon call last month when the Profits Dogs match. I came and I went to bed. I did that again because it wasn't worth watching live. Boring. Ain't that about the truth?
Yep.
Stone Cold Steve Atkin, for what it's worth, I think you're right to focus on the Cody news at first today. In terms of in the future, think of any real news. If there's a breaking story, then it supersedes all other scheduled items, if that makes sense moving forward. That's what we did with the Shane McMahon.
Yeah.
Just before your NXT review.
Yeah.
Andrew Gronick, falling down the Cody rabbit hole. Cody quits, then he comes back so he can challenge for the AEW championship. I know a lot of people go by that, but I've said this before, you don't need to go that convoluted with it. You can just do it as a heel thing. But like, it works though.
You don't need to go that convoluted with it. But Luke, what a moment when he comes back.
Yeah, but Pete, what a moment.
What a moment.
Tan Rosa, holy S word, Stone Cold now Cody. I'm starting to think that it might be a work, but yeah, disappointed in Cody if he goes back. And he was brought to, but what if he was brought to run in Ring of Honor in control there? That would be cool. It'd be great to be the head of the new Ring of Honor going forward.
That's kind of cool.
Peter Mullins, guys, it's fine. Cody may be gone, but Fuego 2 hasn't been confirmed as gone yet. Fuego 2 for AEW World Champion. Then he can go to face El Generico in a super feud. It's so obvious it writes itself.
Totally. It's going to happen.
Chance25, with 2 simple tweets from Fightful, everything from last night's Raw has gone out the window. What a time to be a wrestling fan.
Crazy.
In all fairness, like, I watched Raw. Like, everything went out the window pretty early doors. Like,
everything went out the window
while
watching Raw.
What do you want me to say about Street Profits versus Dirty Dogs?
Dirty Dogs.
Ten Ruzza, this is a wild time now. I hope that he doesn't I hope he just doesn't give up and go back. It's so depressing. If he does, New Japan, Impact, NWA, Ring of Honor, so many fun and amazing possibilities. WWE is so dull and boring. Hope he goes and runs Ring of Honor. Dynamite is going to be intense this week. The thing is, Ten Ruzza, he can do that while working for AEW. For AEW, he goes back to WWE. All that's out the window. But if he's with AEW, he can go work NWA. He can go work New Japan. He can go work Ring of Honor. But this is a choice to go back to WWE and just be in WWE. If he, Ten Ruzza then, a few people have said it's disappointing if he does. Mm-hmm. Do you think it's disappointing?
I think that Cody has... AEW is founded off the anti-WWE sentiment. It is, we are finally competition. We are not like this company. We're going to have sports space. We're going to have good wrestling. The wrestling is going to be the focus. We are a pro wrestling company, not a sports entertainment company. There's a very kind of anti-WWE sentiment baked into the entire foundation of AEW. So for him to go back to WWE kind of does go against the sentiment that he was putting forward as the forefront of AEW, to be like, he's the guy who took the sledgehammer and broke apart the throne. That's his thing, right?
I was going to say, if there's one guy in AEW that has been the anti-WWE stance of we are a different promotion doing different things, it's Cody. It's the golden shovel. It's the sledgehammer on the thing. Everyone's like, man, Cody takes too many shots at WWE. And if he's then the guy that goes back, that is... You'd have thought of all the guys, he'd be the one that wouldn't go.
Do you know when people asked, All Out, when loads of people debuted, and they're like, man, so many WWE guys go to AEW. Who's going to be the first AEW guy to go to WWE? I don't think anyone thought Cody Bloody Rhodes would be the first choice.
Yeah. The Guilty Hat said, how many times in this past year has the question, is this Cody thing a work, been asked? The man just does things to the point to get reactions. He's pure chaos, and I'm here for it. If it is the work, though, I've no idea what it achieves. Us talking about it. It's this. Yeah. It's you talking about it. It's everyone, the 2,100 people in the chat talking about it. It's the thousands of people that go, I don't brag, the thousands of people, the tens of thousands of people that will watch this show afterwards, the tens of thousands of people that download the podcast. That's what it's about. Cody is a guy that has nothing but negative comments about him.
Yeah.
In the last, 6-8 months, everyone's been, since that promo where he solved racism, everyone has been so down on Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the first times that people are talking about Cody Rhodes, maybe not so much in a positive light, because I am
in a non-negative light.
In a non-negative light, I'm curious to see what Cody does next, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you, if he goes back, I actually would be disappointed.
Yeah.
I genuinely would. I actually am in agreement with that, and I don't like to get too wrapped up emotionally in these sorts of things, but I would be disappointed in him to go back, to have done everything that you've done over the last 10 years, and then go back. I don't know. That doesn't... It sits really weird with me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree.
Peter Mullins says, Cody, no, you were the chosen one. You were supposed to destroy the Fed, not join them. That was really good. Okay, that was dramatic. But surely Cody knows going back to WWE is a bad idea with Vince's history of holding a grudge.
You'd think.
I mean, it's also... that's not wrong.
Yeah. I don't know. But hey, man.
David Ayers, Cody going back to WWE is the heel turn.
He played us all along.
Do you want to take the Steve Austin one? Have you got a point you want to make? Sorry.
I was going to make a point. I mean, hey, though, you would have thought that Cody had a pretty decent contract in AEW. If he's getting paid more from WWE, fair play to him. He's got a kid.
Dude, absolutely, yeah. If he's making bank on this deal, fair play to you, man.
Fair play, man. You got a kid now. Totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Talking about Steve Austin, changing gears. Hold on, let me do the WWE country style. Changing gears now. Let's talk about Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania.
My guest at this time. Comments about Steve Austin.
Jack Nichols says, man, this will be cool. I wonder if Austin will use his Disturbed theme.
No, of course he's not going to use the Disturbed theme, Jack.
Hope not.
Yeah.
Does anyone else remember that bit in the album version of Down with the Sickness where the lead singer pretends he's getting battered by his mum? It's bare cringy. Jam that jam.
Oh, mate. I mean, that whole album is cringy. I know there are some Disturbed fans listening to this, but man, Disturbed were never cool. They were always so lame. They do a cover of oh man, what's the cover that they do? They do a cover of Tears for Fears' Shout.
Yes.
And it's not a great cover.
Mm.
There have been some really good Tears for Fears covers. I'm a big Tears for Fears fan. A lot of people have done some really good covers of Tears for Fears stuff. This is one of the worst ones.
Mm.
And there's a line in Tears for Fears' shout when they go, as cold as ice, but they go, as cold as ice. Oh, with your ice, baby. Fuck off. So rubbish.
Swear jar.
So crap. And people go like,
One.
man, what a genius band. No, they weren't. They were always cringy.
Charles Berg said, I may get some flack for this, but I don't care who it is. I don't have any interest in watching a 57-year-old man with knees as strong as Jello wrestling a match, especially 2 decades removed from his last one. It's a surefire way to kill his aura. Jam that jam.
Not if done right.
Not if done right. They don't have a great track record. Undertaker and Shawn Michaels would like to say hello. And Goldberg, for that matter. Peter Mullins has been a member for 4 months in a row. Thank you so much. Said Dr. Dre, Snoop, 50 Cent, and Eminem are singing at the Super Bowl. Ronaldo is up front for Man United, and Austin is headlining Mania. What year is this?
I actually am genuinely curious, though. Like, so much of entertainment is nostalgia for us and, like, our generation.
Yeah.
Is there, like, this just younger generation that are just like, when are we going to get stuff? When do we get new things?
It's the new stuff.
Why is everyone so focused on crap from the 90s?
Yeah.
Like, for me, pushing 40, grand.
Yeah.
And, you know, I love the fact that Star Wars stopped trying and have stopped trying to make new things and are just like, let's just do stuff that appeals to lads in their 40s because they're the only ones that care about Star Wars now.
Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Jurassic Park, Dominion, like all of these films are just like, I just don't know why we're bothered trying to go to a new audience. They just appeal to men in their 40s. Like that's the only target audience we care about now.
Oh, God. Brandon Aegeus said, I'm not sure how I feel about a Stone Cold return. He's been missing from the ring for 19 years. An element of ring rust could exist and could lead to a Shawn Michaels in Saudi type of return. Yeah. If they beat their opponent, it's such a burial to that opponent because WWE would be telling me that a talent today is no better than someone who's been missing from the ring for 19 years ago.
I strongly disagree with that point.
Point 2 would be even worse if this is a squash match in Stone Cold's favor.
Still disagree.
If the opponent wins, no point in Stone Cold coming out of retirement when his final match was so perfect and worked perfectly in storyline. Also, why would Cody go back to WWE after that Stardust gimmick? He really should know better. Apologies for the tantrum. Over and out.
Actually, I disagree with a lot of that, Brandon. In the terms of like, I agree with you that it could be a Michaels thing, and that would be so sad. Which is why I think you want to try and keep this as short as possible.
Absolutely, like you said, if it's like a 20-25 minute boring match, that's not great.
That's bad. But I do disagree with the idea that it's Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's Stone Cold. He's the biggest wrestling star ever. Like if Kevin Owens gets beaten by Stone Cold Steve Austin, it's not like, oh man, what a burial of Kevin Owens. It's Steve Austin. It's not the Brooklyn Brawler beats Kevin Owens. That's a different kettle of fish.
I don't think he'd be buried by losing. I don't know if it would be good for him.
I disagree. I think it'd be great for him.
I don't think so at all. I think Stone Cold would come out, he'd beat him, and then he'd be as he was, if not worse. I
mean, that's most episodes of Raw anyway.
Oh yeah.
At least he's going at least he's not going downwards. Like that's an upwards thing. And lastly, martial arts. Actually, a couple more martial arts. Since WXW can't. Sorry,
this is about the Cody stuff.
It's going back to the Cody thing. Yeah, martial arts. Since WXW can't book wrestlers working for AEW, for me, this is Cody thing is 2 weeks away from 16 karat gold makes total sense. I don't know how martial arts and Dan always just find a way to be like, oh, how does this affect WXW?
Yeah. 16 karat is very important.
Alpha Wolf, WWE still haven't got a challenger for the WWE title. Cody's coming back. Pretty sure he'd want a guarantee for a push. Cody Rhodes versus Lashley for the title at Mania. Cody going over. If Cody Rhodes comes back, gets put straight into a program with Bubbles over the WWE Championship leading into a WrestleMania match, and that's Cody's first match back, and he gets his big old grand entrance on the Cody Vader, whatever, the George Foreman grill, whatever he's calling it. And he beats Bobby Lashley for the WWE Championship. Hey, what a moment. Like that is a heck of a first play to bring him back.
Yeah. Alternatively, Cody comes back. Big title match at WrestleMania. And he loses. Lashley just beats him. Back down the card you go, mate.
I mean, let's be honest.
Welcome back.
It happened to AJ Styles.
Yep. Alternatively,
yeah,
tinfoil hat time. He goes, wins the WWE title, shows back up on AEW.
Yeah, guys, I'll sign the contract next week. I'm just going to do this WrestleMania thing first. Yeah, Vince, it's okay. Like, my pen's run out of ink, but I have signed it. Yeah. Tony believes. Tony!
I've got the belt. Run!
Anyway, Disturbed are a poor man to Limp Bizkit. Anyway, let's
Your disdain for anything Disturbed related.
They're crappy. They're very poor. Anyway, this podcast is sponsored by 45 minutes into this show.
Whoa.
I'm so sorry, Denise. This podcast is sponsored by BetterHelp. HELP. Click the link in the video description down below. Click the link that is being supplied by our wonderful moderating team and use that promo code WRESTLE for 10% off your first month. This is not a crisis line. It is not self-help. It is professional therapy done securely online. And you want to do it via text? You can do. Want to do it over the phone? You can do. Want to do it over video call? Can do. The option is yours. You're in control of this. Just in the way we're all in control of our own lives. And BetterHelp are here to help you to make yourself do better. Like, BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. You can log into your account anytime, send a message to your therapist. It's more affordable than traditional offline therapy, and financial aid is available. You will be matched with your therapist in under 48 hours. Please do click the link in the video description down below. Your well-being is very important to us here at WrestleTalk. Our well-being, Pete, your well-being is very important to me. Every single person watching this, we want you to be the best version possible of you. And these are people that can help you out if you do feel like you need it.
Last couple of years have been pretty rough for a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
So this is exactly the kind of thing you need to... Because sometimes you have stuff on your shoulders that you didn't even know you had. And doing stuff like this can help relieve that tension from you.
Yeah. Right, well, I mean, we're going to breeze through Raw because...
I mean, nothing happened, so that's fine.
Well, okay, so this opening segment here where Bobby and MVP come out. Here are my notes. Bobby and MVP come out. They say stuff. Seth comes out. He says stuff. Riddle comes out in a toga and says stuff. Austin Theory comes out, says stuff. AJ Styles comes out and says stuff. Bobby says stuff back. Brock Lesnar comes out and is the only star in the ring.
Yeah.
What is the point of this being an Elimination Chamber match other than it is the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view? Because this match is Bobby versus Brock. And no one else matters in it.
Yeah, that's it. I've got nothing to add to this, Luke.
This segment made every single person not named Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar look like an absolute chump.
Yep.
Because what happened here, folks, is that they all came out to do the standard Raw thing where you get interrupting promo who, and they interrupt each other's promos, then they stand in the ring like geeks. Then Brock Lesnar gets the only superstar entrance. He comes out, and what does everyone do? They get out of the ring.
Yeah.
He starts beating up Austin Theory, and everyone just
gets out.
I thought Bobby Lashley cleared house, like Bobby and Brock cleared house. And I watched it back, and I was like, no, literally, like AJ Styles just gets out of the ring.
Yeah, everyone just leaves.
Riddle just gets out of the ring. Seth Rollins just gets out of the ring.
Yeah. Oh, our time in the script is up. Exit left.
It made
off we go.
Everyone look like absolute losers.
Yeah, 100%. Also, AJ Styles managed to say WrestleMania moment 3 times in his promo, which is kind of wild. I also said, what happened to all of Austin Theory's charisma? You know, like the fun goofball that he used to be? He just sounded like every generic heel ever in his promo. It's
felt really bad for him.
Real bad.
So yeah, I mean, that is a match that 2 people matter.
Yep.
It's either Brock winning or it's Bobby winning. No one else matters in that match. And like, if someone else wins that chamber, you've done a piss poor job of making them look credible.
Yeah. The only person I could see winning that's not Bobby or Brock would be Seth Rollins. As like a shock. Like, oh my god, no one saw this coming kind of moment. But like, that's it.
Yeah. I don't see it happening though. Hey, I saw Street Profits face Ziggler and Rude 500 times on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And they got drafted over to Raw together. And all they've done since then is just have matches with each other. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Tommaso Ciampa's on commentary. I was like, to what? Like, this match starts, and then like Jimmy Smith just goes, oh, by the way, Tommaso Ciampa from NXT is here. And I'm like, what? Who is here? Tommy Champs is here. And he's just like, hello, I'm Tommaso Ciampa from NXT 2.0. It's nice to meet you. Like, what are you doing here?
Welcome back to the main roster, Tommy C.
And what this was here to build is because Dolph Ziggler's gone to NXT to possibly challenge for the NXT Championship. Yeah. How do you build that up? By pinning Dolph Ziggler in this match. How does this company make $1 billion? I don't know how.
I'll be honest. I didn't even notice that Ziggler got pinned. I just checked out of this match.
Honestly, it might have been Rude, but either way, Ziggler. I don't. But actually, I think it might have been Rude that got pinned. Did Rude get pinned? Can anyone tell me who got pinned?
No idea.
Either way.
Profits won.
Yeah, the Profits won. How do you... What did the Profits gain from winning this? Why didn't Ziggler just win?
Who cares?
Yeah. Bunch of geeks are at the Broga party. Randy wasn't there. He's getting ready for a match. We've got a promo video for Soul Man Rocky Johnson. Owens cut this promo about hating Texas. It was Rude that got pinned. AJ Styles versus Damian Priest for the United States Championship. Match was about to get good. Lasted 4 minutes. Priest won. How does this build AJ Styles for the Chamber this Saturday?
What the hell's going on? Why are you pinning AJ?
This company made $1 billion.
In 1 quarter? Wasn't it?
I don't know. That was a year. That was a year.
Was it the annual?
It was an annual one, yeah.
Imagine that in 1 quarter. That'd be crazy. Anyway. Why? Why is AJ losing? He's fighting for the WWE Championship on Saturday. Damian Priest has been US champion for ages. Can't tell you the vast majority of his opponents. Maybe Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah, Ziggler's one of them. I think T-Bar? Did they have a match for the title? They had matches.
Miz and John Morrison forever.
Yes, it was Miz and John Morrison forever.
That's it. Miz and John Morrison, Dolph Ziggler, AJ Styles. Maybe a couple other people.
Owens is in there, yeah. I guess so.
But he's been champion for how long now?
Here's the problem, though. So, I'd imagine there'll be people who are watching this video and they'll be in the comments and they'll be like, what would you rather do? Like, you don't want to pin AJ, you don't want to pin Damian Priest. Here's an idea. Don't book the match!
Say this every week.
I feel that what happens, that Vince McMahon shows up to work, he writes down a bunch of matches, and then looks at me and is like, well, goddamn, pal, now what do we do?
Yeah.
And it's just like the eraser has stopped working. He doesn't have to use the backspace on a computer. So he's like, well, goddamn, pal, now we need to work out how to get out of this situation.
Yep.
Like, they book themselves into these situations. Like, now what do we do?
Yep. AJ's not winning on Saturday.
He really is not. Alexa Bliss's therapy sessions, he gave her the innards of Lily, and then later on, they give her a replica Lily doll with the innards of the original Lily stuffed inside.
Yep.
Now, Child's Play lore tells us that means that Lily's soul is now in this new version of Lily.
That's correct.
Because I know you know this, Pete, because you're a man of culture.
Totally.
At the end of Child's Play, the Chucky doll is burnt to a crisp, right? And then they shoot him through the heart. The only way to kill him, because he's got his soul is in the body. At the start of Child's Play 2, they melt down that doll and they rebuild a new good guy doll. Because, hey, the good guy corporation want to sell the good guy dolls, right? So they melt down the bad one, and then they build a new version. So Chucky's down, but Chucky's soul is still within that body, because although it's a brand new Chucky doll, the soul of Charles Lee Ray is still in there.
I knew that. Yeah.
So Alexa Bliss.
I was very confused about the second one, because he said here's the Lily doll, and you're completely cured of all this stuff. You just need to keep Lily near you at all times. I was like, wasn't that what she was doing before? That's the opposite of being cured.
Yeah, he's a bad therapist.
Yeah, real bad.
Yeah, he is not via BetterHelp.
I think, I'm just going to throw this out there, this might be a hot take, I don't think he's a therapist.
Really?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, pretty certain.
But he had one of those Newton cradles.
I know. And all therapists have them. From what I hear.
Alexa Bliss was looking to recover from her trauma of the Lily doll, and his therapy advice was just here's Lily doll.
Here's the torn up innards of your best friend. Yeah? Cured? Yeah? See?
Someone's trying to claim that you didn't know that about Child's Play, but I think you
Of course I knew that, Luke.
Omos beat the Hurt Business in a 2-on-1 handicap match. They're still calling themselves the Hurt Business, even though Bobby Lashley was very clear, we're not the Hurt Business.
Such a shame. Hurt Business theme song is so good.
Yeah.
Also, why do they call him Omos? They say it weird. It's not Omos.
Why don't they?
Omos!
Yeah, Omos.
Omos. It's weird. It's like O-M-A-S. Weird.
At the end of this, so Omos beats both of them, right? And then whoever it is on commentary, it might have been Byron Saxon, was like, man, he just beat the former tag team champions. I was like, mate, everyone does.
Everyone's tag team champions.
Yeah, also, and? Like everyone's beaten Shelton and Cedric. Like, it's not a big deal to beat them.
Also, they were former tag champions.
They were. Right, so we got a series. I'm going to say it's not even a series of skits because it was literally 2. And that was my biggest issue with this. I thought this was going to set up to be great.
Yeah,
because it's Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
So Dana and Reggie, who have been going through this sort of like
won't they?
Netflix romantic comedy set at Christmas thing they've been doing sort of since the winter period, right?
Yeah.
They're going out on a best friends Valentine's date because they're just friends, they're not romantic partners, even though they literally teased last week that they could be more than just romantic, or they could be just more than just friends, right?
Palantines.
Oh, is that what it's called? That's cute.
I assume so. I don't know. If not, I'm going to trademark that.
I would. That's really good.
Because I know Galentine's is a thing.
Yeah. That's from The Office.
You can have Palantines. Why not?
It's from Parks and Recreation.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Well, anyway, so they're sat down and they're about to pick their food and stuff. And who should sneak into the background but Tozawa and Tamina?
I did not know it was Tamina.
In like these crap like disguises and stuff, and they're like hiding behind menus. And it comes up saying to be continued. And I was like, oh, this opens up. I don't like any of this 24/7 stuff, but this is genuinely an opportunity here for some good comedy. Then it ended in the next segment.
Yeah.
Because it's not to be continued. Literally a few seconds later, R-Truth shows up as the waiter. They find out it's the waiter. They all brawl, and then Reggie pins Dana.
So Reggie said to Dana, can we take this relationship to the next level? And she was like, no, basically. She said, you'll make someone really happy someday, but that person's not me. And he goes, hey, yeah, no, that's totally fair. Friends is fine. Gives her a hug and then rolls her up and wins a 24/7 title. I thought that moment itself was quite good. Everything else was pants.
The finish of this, I did actually quite enjoy. Like him going in for the hug and then turning it into the schoolgirl for the win. I thought that was actually pretty inventive.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really fun. But like, if you're going to set this up with a to be continued, why not do multiple segments?
Yeah, you should have done.
Some good comedy in there. You got 3 hours to fill.
Yeah.
And if your response to that is like, well, we want less 24/7 stuff, then just do it in one segment.
Yeah.
You don't need to, you didn't put this tease in there, and obviously a million people at home being like, I need to stick around and watch this show and find out what happens next.
Yeah.
Broker party continues. We had
Joe Dawkins nailed a shot for beer pong. Wonder how many takes that took. Or was it none?
Hey, if it was Shane Taylor, it would have taken none. Just straight in there. Bang.
Bang.
We had a contract signing for the Raw Women's Championship.
I think this is the thing on this show that I liked.
I loved this. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah. This is the one thing.
Do you know why it's awesome, Pete? It's because Becky Lynch is an interesting character.
She has a character.
Isn't
that great?
And like, it's why her promo segment was so good last week against Lita. Is because Lita didn't have a character. She came out there and was like, I am a WWE superstar.
So happy to be here.
I am so happy to be here. Becky Lynch comes out and was like, here's my character.
Yeah.
And she carried that into today. Like Becky Lynch comes out and be like, all of a sudden Cindy just like, why are you doing this? Why is my child here? And like, she's all disheveled. I actually like credit to not only just the commentary, the way that this whole segment was produced.
Yeah.
Because Lita comes out, she makes her entrance, she sits in the ring. And then the commentary team will be like, oh man, and here comes Big Time Bex. She is Big Time Bex with her big old glasses and this and the other. Becky Lynch comes out not looking like Big Time Bex. And the commentary was go like, oh, okay. I thought Becky's delivery of this was awesome. I thought Lita was there. And I thought this was a complete home run. Yeah, I think Becky's great at the moment.
So curious about it. It's so completely different from what we've seen from Becky before. This kind of like insecure character who just... And she said, you're taking me to a place I don't want to go and I don't know if I can come back from. So what I'm hoping is that this will have long-term ramifications for Becky's character. There's going to be a new side of, we've done the Big Time Bex thing. I think it's probably run its course at this point, as is. So having like the next development of Becky's character, and this being the trigger for it, big thumbs up for all involved. This kind of like nervous wreck who doesn't want to beat up her childhood hero kind of thing. This is very, very good. Also, did Lita say she has a 500-day title reign? She won it at SummerSlam.
Yeah, I did think that was weird. I wonder if they're like just
continuing it from a previous one.
One, yeah.
Which is not how title reigns work, but that's fine.
I'd like to add together all of my championship reigns, and it'll equate to about 15 days.
Longest reigning champion of all time.
I've had that belt 3 times. Honestly, could probably count on one pair of hands the amount of days I've actually held the thing for. Also, Pete, I don't know if you know this, but WWE continues to influence the world. Did you see this whole thing on Twitter over the weekend?
No.
So in Saudi Arabia at the moment, they've got banners up for the Elimination Chamber, and there's like all the all the ladies are on it, right?
Right.
And every single woman in WWE tweeted, WWE continues to influence the world. And it was just like, you know, Mr. Roboto had typed up that, and it was cringy as all get out. They all said the same thing. There's a footballer, I don't know what his name was, right, but he their social media manager asked all the players to tweet out a certain thing, and the text message they sent was like, write something like, and then the thing, and all the guy did was just copy that text message and put it onto Twitter and post that. So his tweet was like, say something like, and then what they wanted them to say. And this is like all of those tweets felt like they were written by the same social media intern that WWE continues to influence the world. And then on commentary, Corey Graves was like, WWE continues to influence the world. Awful business.
Never been a better time.
That was good. We then had a gauntlet match to determine who is going to be the final entrant who goes in last for the Elimination Chamber this coming Saturday.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley quickly beat Nikki Ash. She then quickly beat Liv Morgan, and then she quickly beat Doudrop, and then had a banging match against Bianca Belair. Rhea Ripley, in total, was in the ring for 44 minutes, I think, but I think a good 20 minutes of that was commercial breaks.
Okay. I've seen a lot of people that really like this gauntlet match. And you know, I thought the last two of Rhea and Bianca was really, really good. I thought it elevated Rhea really well. I have some pretty severe gripes with this match, though, in that, one, Bianca Belair is now last in the Elimination Chamber. The perennial Iron Woman babyface Bianca Belair is last in the Elimination Chamber, which counterintuitive. You had Rhea Ripley go the whole distance, cool, babyface. Having breaks... like breaks where they're not wrestling for an entire ad break. Like Liv Morgan would come out, cut to an ad break, come back, the match starts. That's not a gauntlet match. If you have breaks in it, the point is it's a continuous match. The point is that the first person in has to overcome all these obstacles, and as soon as you beat one person, here's the next person. You don't get a break, straight into the next match. Having ad breaks defeats the point of a gauntlet match. This company made $1 billion. Oh man, they did it twice as well. Did it for Liv Morgan, did it for Doudrop, and then they did a picture-in-picture ad break for Bianca Belair where they stood looking at each other for 2 minutes. Like, just wound me up. Really wound me up, that.
At least Bianca Belair versus Ripley was good.
It was very good.
Like, I'd imagine that this Saturday, like, Ripley will go the distance again, and it'll come down to Ripley and Belair. So, let's talk about it now. So, Alexa Bliss was just inserted into the match.
That was an awkward splice.
Wasn't it just?
Oh my goodness.
Like, so that had to have been a last minute decision.
100%.
100% had to have been done over the weekend, maybe even on the day Alexa Bliss is in that match.
Yep.
Because Alexa Bliss walks out of the therapy session and then this voiceover just goes like, oh, hey, I hear there's a match this Saturday. I'm in it. And then that was it.
It's a little graphic. Alexa Bliss in on Saturday. Like, what? Got whiplash from that announcement.
It honestly was just this terrible voiceover. They're just like, oh, and by the way, it's like, I have to go now. My planet needs me. Alexa Bliss is in the Elimination Chamber.
Wild.
But like, if Bliss is in the chamber, do you think I don't think she's winning.
Not if she's facing Becky.
Because I don't think so. Apparently, this was what Sean was saying. It's the plan since January has been Bianca versus Becky. And like Becky, one of the reports I saw was that like Becky has been looking for someone to be made to look strong, so that she then has a credible, strong challenger for when she gets to WrestleMania. And that's why Bianca has been so heavily protected on TV, because Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch is the designated main event. Like, I like the fact that that's been
novel concept.
Like, I like that that's been in place since January when that storyline started at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Like, surely the decision was made there.
You'd think
that it's going to be Bianca versus Becky, but regardless.
Yeah.
So it's going to be Bianca. At least that's what I would presume. Because to me, again, this is the storyline we've been telling since SummerSlam.
Yep.
If it's Alexa Bliss, that's really weird. That Alexa just randomly inserts herself into this match 4 days beforehand and then wasn't part of this Gauntlet match and then just is going to win. But then that raised the question of like, what, are you just going to beat Alexa Bliss in her return match?
Why didn't they? If they'd have thought about it beforehand, which clearly they didn't, why didn't they have the Gauntlet match happen? Bianca Belair wins the Gauntlet. Bianca Belair wins. Great, Gauntlet. Out comes Alexa Bliss. No, we've got one more competitor in the Gauntlet. Here's Alexa Bliss, and she cheats to win if she's still a heel, I guess.
I guess probably because she wasn't there for the TV tapings. They hadn't actually decided.
Absolutely, yeah, because they hadn't thought about it. But if that was going to be the plan, if she was going to be in certain Elimination Chamber, that surely would have been the way to do it.
And actually, and I'm sure that Chris will be in the Ultrachats to talk about this.
Probably.
But like, her storyline's not with Becky.
No, not at all. No. She won't win.
Her storyline beefs with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Because Charlotte killed Lily.
Yeah.
It's like, surely she's got more. She has an actual like inbuilt storyline for a return there.
Yeah.
She just comes back and has a feud with Becky. Is like, and
yeah, no, she's not winning on Elimination Chamber. I think something will happen in the Chamber. Someone will mess up Lily in the Chamber, and that will be her feud going into Mania. Yep.
Alpha Academy beat a Riddle of the Toga Party. You might have mentioned we barely mentioned the Toga Party, and that's because nothing happened in them.
It's a bunch of people hanging out.
They announced this ahead of time.
Yeah.
They had a whole week to think of things you could do in this Toga Party.
And it was nothing.
They did none of them.
Why did everyone like Riddle as well? It's a bunch of heels. And they're all like, yeah, Riddle, love you, mate.
Apollo Crews and Commander Aziz were there. And I'm like,
Vega and Carmella. It's like,
need
why
the
do you
baddies?
like Riddle?
Well, in all fairness, Carmella and Zelina Vega thought the party was for them.
Did they?
Yeah, I think Zelina had a line at the start where she was like, oh, I'm so glad that people have turned up to have a party in my honor.
Okay, missed that.
Alpha Academy beat the Mysterios.
Yep.
I was really enjoying this segment until Miz came out.
Yep. Miz was there, hit a skull crush finale on Ray afterwards. Cool.
I get accused on this channel a lot of having an anti-Miz agenda. I say me, WrestleTalk as a whole has this anti-Miz agenda. Just kind of lean into it. I don't like him.
He's fine.
He comes on TV. I want to turn it over to watch something else. Like, as I said, like Chad Gable comes out. He cuts this awesome promo, brilliant, like with this shush and his thank you. And I was like, this is so great. He is so charismatic. Blaming Kevin Kilpatrick for like and his accent for not understanding how to spell a word. Thought that was great. You know, like, oh man, I hate cheaters. You and Dominic and Ray, you're cheaters. I was like, this is brilliant stuff. Then the Miz comes out. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I forgot that he was part of this feud.
Yeah.
I'd actually much rather just watch Chad Gable feud with Rey Mysterio.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then we had the final Alexa Bliss therapy segment, which we talked about, and Seth Rollins beat Randy Orton. Orton had the match won.
Yep, pretty much.
Ollie said in his review today that it's a great way to build the chamber match by beating 5 of the 12 people that are in the Elimination Chamber. I would actually argue they beat 6. Because Randy Orton beat Seth Rollins in this match.
Yep.
He hit the RKO, and he had the match won, and Alpha Academy distracted him. And Alpha Academy distracting him led to Rollins hitting the stomp and getting the win. So Rollins didn't look great here. Rollins should have won. 100% Rollins should have won. He's fighting for the WWE Championship this Saturday. He 100% should have won this match. But Randy won it first.
Yeah.
So Rollins lost. AJ lost. Doudrop lost. Liv Morgan lost. Rhea Ripley lost. It's just everyone going into these matches this weekend. Riddle got beaten up backstage. Riddle got beaten up on the ramp here.
Everyone looked like a champ in the opening segment.
Austin Theory got beaten up. Like, every single person in these chambers, with the exception of Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, and Bianca Belair, looked like either lost or looked like losers.
Yep. Why can't we build new stars, Luke? I just don't get it.
Okay, we've gone so long on this show, so I wasn't even going to bring this up. I know a lot of people really like Brock Lesnar's appearance on the Pat McAfee show. I was like, oh man, did you see Brock Lesnar on the Pat McAfee show? And I'm like, Pat McAfee, I'd rather not. And people were like, oh, did you see it? And I was like, yeah. Like, I saw Brock's comments where he was like, someone really needs to step up and like work out a way to put ass in the seats. I was like, do you not think that people have been trying for the last 20 years to step up and put asses in seats? And every single one of them have had the legs cut out from underneath them, Brock Lesnar. You didn't. You didn't get your legs cut out from underneath you. Roman Reigns didn't get his legs cut out from underneath him. So now he's sitting there being like, it's not my fault that like no one can be as big of a star as me and Roman. I was like, yeah, it's because WWE haven't tried for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's not your fault. It's not Roman's fault, but it's not their fault either. I think Big E didn't try to be when he was WWE champion. I think Kofi Kingston didn't try. Do you think Cesaro hasn't tried to be a main eventer? Do you think Finn Balor hasn't tried to be a main eventer? Do you think Dean Ambrose didn't try to be a main eventer in WWE? And do you know who derailed him? You, Brock Lesnar, when you had that match at Mania and you showed up and like, don't want to do this, and you made him look like an asshole. Like, all of these people have tried over the years. And then Brock sits there with his stupid grin. He's like, man, people need to step up. Like, it's not their fault. It's a bad company. And apparently Cody's going back there.
God. Oh. I don't know if this is a hot take.
Uh-huh.
I don't really like WWE.
What would you have rated this show? Like, you didn't watch Raw on a regular basis.
Oh my God, I don't care, Luke.
It's 3 hours long. For me, the show is a 2 out of 5.
It was so boring.
It is boring, isn't it?
So boring. Nothing happened.
Just not a lot of happening.
Sure, two. One, two.
I wouldn't say it's a 1 out of 5. I've seen some 1 out of 5
who
Raws.
cares?
I've seen some 1 out of 5 Raws.
Hey man, if I get angry about a show, at least I feel something. Jesus. It gave me nothing.
In the poll, 48% of you thought it was average, 21% thought it was rawful, 18% thought it was poor, but that is very heavily weighted towards average. Nearly 50% of the audience thought it was an average show. I'm in agreement, but for me, this was more a 2 out of 5 show because it's the go-home show for Elimination Chamber, and I think it actively made a lot of people in the chamber look bad.
Yeah, also, it's 3 hours, and that is too fucking long!
Hey, there's no need to swear.
Piss off.
We're going to do our Patreon Pledgehammer shout-outs now, everyone. If you want to head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, Pete Cornell, what can they get?
Oh, so many things. I'm trying to multitask at the same time. If you go to patreon.com/WrestleTalk, you can get loads of stuff. We've got loads of exclusive content coming out. Luke is going to be recording the mailbag with Denise Salcedo like right after this podcast. You can expect that soon. We've got WrestleTalk Extra, which is No Way Out 2009, where Ollie and Luke will be reviewing that.
We recorded that yesterday, in fact.
Yeah.
It's about, by the time I put all the clips in, probably about 3 hours long, that podcast.
3 hour deep dive of No Way Out 2009. We've got Fan Quizzlemania later this week. We've got WrestleTalk After Dark next week. We've got Wrestle League for Elimination Chamber this week. Oh my God, so much stuff. And also, if you pledge at the $25 or above tier, you get your own custom wrestling nickname, and it gets read out on a show, much like this one. So thank you to
Jackson T. Roller.
I don't have the names. The Schrock Master, Austin Schrock.
But if you don't speak, that's why I got you to do the spiel, because I didn't have them up yet.
Yep.
Dive, Dylan Cachetta.
Peter Fiber Branchuas.
Always Shining, Garrett Albright.
Will always mark out for Ollie Landrum.
Thomas O. Ciampa.
Michael Mark for Life Plowman.
The Machine Gun, Alex Anderson.
Yo Adrian, Rocky.
A Song of Icefire 352.
And finally, for this Hall of Fame class of the 15th of February 2022, we're going to need to find... Oh, there's a date right there. Should look at that in the future. Not Eugene, Andrew Dinsmore.
That's a good one. I like that one. Thank you all so much for being Patreon Pledgehammers. We love each and every single one of you. Let's get into your remaining Ultrachats. Just seeing if we missed any.
Yep. I'm getting that here. Yep. We're getting used to these tablets.
Yep.
We're getting there.
Got some here. Yep. Brett J. Rasmussen. I love Cody and all the work he's done for AEW. He's had his ups and downs, but I've been a fan of Cody in all that he has done. I still cheered him even when others didn't. All I want for him and Brandi is to be happy whatever they're doing next.
Absolutely.
It's a very nice way to put it, Brett.
I do want them to be happy. I won't be excited if they go back to WWE, but if that's what makes them happy, cool.
Yeah, I think I am excited because what does that mean? But am I excited to see Cody wrestle matches in WWE?
You know how like when someone debuts in AEW, we go, oh, think of all the dream matches. You know, like we did for Keith Lee when we lost our minds at the thought of Keith Lee versus Kenny Omega. I don't get that excited about Cody versus people in WWE because I don't think the matches will be that great. You know, I just don't think they're going to show that level of respect to Cody to be like, yeah, go out and have your style of match, because they won't. They'll just have a WWE match featuring Cody.
Can I do a bit of fantasy booking?
Sure.
I'm going to slightly piggyback off something that you said earlier. WrestleMania.
Yep.
Roman retains over Brock Lesnar for the Blue Universal Championship, right? Next night, it's the Raw after Mania. And you know what that Raw after Mania crowd is like?
Sure.
That will be the hardcore traveling audience. And that's the first time in a while that we've had the hardcore traveling audience for a Raw after Mania.
True.
They might put an extra bit of salt and pepper into the seasoning for the Raw after Mania this year. That's when Cody debuts, or that's when Cody returns.
Yeah.
The main event of that night is Cody versus Roman for the title, and Cody wins. If you're going to do the title switch, you're going to have Cody win his first big match. That's the one to do, right? Is the man to dethrone Roman Reigns on his first match back, his first night back, on the Raw after Mania in front of that crowd?
Why would you do it at the Raw after Mania when you could do it at WrestleMania Backlash? Come on, Luke.
Wow, so the poll is now finished. Is it a work? Yes, 51%. No, 49%. Bloody hell.
It's close.
Nate S. Can Ollie message his brother Cody and tell him to negotiate Ali's release in his WWE contract? I really can't see him and Brandi going to WWE after all they did in AEW and knowing how WWE treats people. What a huge, crazy story. I'd be disappointed for sure. Poor Ali, by the way. See that tweet where he was like, I'll see you in 2.5 years? Oh, God, it's so sad.
That is like late 2024.
Oh, mate.
Ugh.
Jack Nichols, yo, I can't listen live, but we're... I'm not going to quite say that. I'm really looking forward to seeing Alexa Bliss back, and I sort of want her to win. Yep. Oh my God, we only got one more chat left.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, okay. And Football Down Under with Zach said, hey, Luke and Pete, as someone who's only watched wrestling from about 2013, I wanted to go back and watch some of the older content going back to the Attitude Era. What would be a good period to start at? Thanks from Australia. Oh, crikey, mate. Australia. Nailed it.
So good.
What would be a good place to start? I mean, probably like WrestleMania 15.
Sure.
14, actually, sorry, like the Austin era has begun. That's probably the best place to start. Problem is you've then got to watch a lot of 1998 pay-per-views, and the Raws are dead exciting, but the pay-per-views are stinkers, man. A lot of the 1998 pay-per-views suck. Like, they are really bad.
I mean, if you want to just watch some good pay-per-views, just watch like all of 2000. Right, because like pretty much every pay-per-view bar WrestleMania is a banger.
It is absolutely, yeah. Right? I mean, 2000 is like the best year apart from Mania, which is terrible.
Yeah,
but like, I think if you want to see Austin,
yeah,
like if that's your aim is because you want to see what Austin was like, 2000's a bad place to start because he's not there for a lot of it.
Yeah,
like he shows up at Backlash, but he's out with the injury after being run down. And then his matches that he has after that, when he comes back, aren't really that great. Just like he kills Rikishi. Yeah. And then he's in the Armageddon Hell in a Cell, which is a bunch of fun. And then you get into 2001.
And he doesn't have anything notable after that. Nothing about like WrestleMania X7. That was pretty forgettable, I think, right?
Yeah, I don't think a lot happened in that one, apart from the greatest wrestling match of all time between Raven, Kane, and Big Show. Yeah, maybe 1999. At least 1999 has got goofy fun in it. Because that's got Howard Power and all that sort of stuff. And... you know, like Austin versus Vince and Shane in a ladder match for control of the company.
Sure,
like, all that sort of stuff's pretty grand. And Rob Phillips here says, maybe Cody is so desperate to not be booed, he's heading back to the indifferent WWE casual audience as his only escape. Cue piped in boos from Kevin Dunn.
That would be quite funny, actually, if it escapes AEW to not be booed and then gets piped in boos. We went long.
What a show.
Crikey.
I am... flabbergasted by the Cody news.
Yeah. Throw me through a loop, that has.
I don't really know what to make of it. I guess we'll sort of like, I'm going to see if Fightful have posted anything, actually.
That'd be smart.
Just because
the show's not gone long enough.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, I'm recording with Denise in like 10 minutes, and I need to set some stuff up. I need to set up and do some gubbins here and there, but I think Denise has probably got some stuff to catch up on as well. With,
probably.
You know, there's some news and stuff.
Yeah.
No new update from Sean as of yet. Let me just quickly check Twitter. Because I don't really know what else to do.
No.
Oh, Sean's done a show. He's actually live right now. Everyone, head on over to Fightful. Head on over to Fightful YouTube channel now because Sean is doing a live show talking about Cody leaving. Tell them WrestleTalk sent you as well.
Yes.
Tell them the
That
WrestleTalk
bit's
podcast.
important.
Yeah, tell them we sent you because we love Sean Ross Sapp. He's a good friend of ours.
He's great.
Head on over there right now and go and watch his, because he'll be the man who's got all the best updates on this. So thank you all so much for watching, and thank you to our sponsor, BetterHelp. Please do click the link in the video description down below, and be sure to click the link that's being shared by our wonderful moderating team. We love each and every single one of you, and we will see you tomorrow for the NXT review. Hey, you're going to review NXT, are you, Pete? Jam that jam, everyone.